Here is a complete approximately 900-word original story based on your title, written to keep readers hooked from start to finish. A broke cowboy took a job for a humble cowgirl. He had no clue she owned every bank in town. Dust clung to Jack Mercer's boots like the past he couldn't outrun. The sun was sinking behind the Montana hills when he rode into Red Willow with a single dollar in his pocket and a horse that looked as tired as he felt. Jack had once been a respected cowboy, the kind men trusted with cattle drives and hard decisions, but bad luck had a way of stacking itself higher than hay bales. A failed ranch partnership, a cheating friend, and one brutal winter had taken everything from him. Red Willow was small, one main street, a saloon, a feed store, and 3 banks standing like proud monuments to money Jack didn't have. He planned to pass through, maybe find day work, then move on. But fate had other plans. Outside the feed store stood a woman struggling with a sack of grain almost her size. She wore plain jeans, a faded shirt, and a straw hat pulled low. No jewelry, no arrogance, just determination. "Need a hand?" Jack asked, tipping his hat. She looked up, surprised, then smiled. "I won't say no to that." He lifted the sack easily and followed her to a modest wagon. She introduced herself as Emma Cole, a cowgirl running a small ranch east of town. Her voice was calm, her manners polite, almost old-fashioned. "I could use help," she said as Jack tied down the load. "Honest work, not much pay, but meals and a place to sleep." Jack laughed softly. "Ma'am, that sounds like a fortune to me right now." So he took the job. Emma's ranch was humble, weathered fences, a small herd, a house that creaked with every wind gust. Jack worked from dawn to dusk, fixing fences, breaking a stubborn horse, repairing the barn roof before the next storm rolled in. Emma worked just as hard beside him, never complaining, never acting like she was above the dirt and sweat. At night, they ate simple meals and talked by lantern light. Jack learned Emma had grown up around Red Willow but kept to herself. She asked about his past, but never pressed. Something about her quiet strength put him at ease. Still, Jack noticed odd things. Every banker in town tipped his hat to Emma. The saloon owner refused to let her pay for supplies. When Jack once overheard a man complain about a loan, the banker said, "Miss Cole already approved it." Jack assumed she came from an old family with connections. Nothing more. One afternoon, trouble arrived. A slick man in a black coat rode onto the ranch with 2 others behind him. He introduced himself as Mr. Lawson, representing a land development company. He claimed Emma's ranch sat on land needed for a railway expansion. "We're offering fair money," Lawson said smoothly. "Sign, and you'll never have to work again." Emma's eyes hardened. "This ranch isn't for sale." Lawson smirked. "Everyone has a price." Jack stepped forward. She said no. The man laughed, but there was something uneasy in his eyes. "You should know who you're working for, cowboy." "I know enough," Jack replied. Lawson left, but not before promising trouble. That night, Jack urged Emma to be careful. "Men like that don't give up." She smiled faintly. "Neither do I." The truth came out 2 days later in town. Jack had gone to the bank to ask for a small loan, just enough to buy supplies and maybe start fresh someday. The banker froze when Jack mentioned Emma's name. "You work for Miss Cole?" the man asked, suddenly nervous. "Yes, sir." The banker leaned closer. "Son, Miss Emma Cole owns this bank. And the other 2, and half the land around Red Willow. Inherited it young, kept it quiet." Jack walked out in shock. That evening, he confronted Emma. "Why didn't you tell me?" She sighed. "Because people stop seeing me when they see money. I wanted you to see me." Jack didn't know what to say. He felt small, foolish. "So this job, was it charity?" Her voice was firm. "No, you earned every dollar. And I trusted you before I trusted anyone else." Lawson made his final move the next morning, trying to freeze Emma's assets through legal pressure and threats. What he didn't expect was that every bank, every document, every loan led back to her. Within hours, Lawson was escorted out of town, his company bankrupt by sunset. Jack watched it all unfold, stunned. He planned to leave the next day. Pride demanded it, but Emma stopped him at the gate. "I don't need a hired hand anymore," she said softly. "But I could use a partner. Someone who stands when things get hard." Jack looked at the ranch, the land, and then at her. For the first time in years, he felt rich, not because of money, but because someone believed in him. "I reckon," he said with a smile, "I finally found a place worth staying." And in Red Willow, the broke cowboy and the humble cowgirl built something stronger than banks, deeper than land, something money could never buy.